these are the synaptic vesicles which contains the neurotransmitter. So these neurotransmitter will get bind to the receptors on the postsynaptic neuron. The synaptic cleft having the area having the width of 20 nanometer. Like this area is about 20 nanometer. So wow, how this occur? So how this occurs? Let me define. First, when the action potential is traveling toward this, so it will cause the opening of calcium channels. When the calcium channels are opened, then there will be influx of the calcium ions. These calcium ions will cause the synaptic vesicles to fuse with the cell membrane. When these are fused, the neurotransmitter is released into the synaptic cleft. This will bind to the receptors on the postsynaptic neuron. This again will cause an action potential in the postsynaptic neuron, and the neurotransmitter are rapidly destroyed by the enzymes. General feature of peripheral autonomic neurotransmission. First one, we got any nerve impulse. This will cause the depolarization of pre or post ganglionic fibers. So the calcium will enter into cell. This will cause the exocytosis of neurotransmitter. The diffusion of a neurotransmitter across the synaptic cleft. They will attach to the neurotransmitter receptors. This will cause the depolarization of postganglionic fibers or response of effector cells. So, norepinephrine is the primary neurotransmitter. It is synthesized in the inside of the axon of the neuron. It is stored in the inside of the vesicles. So, how this norepinephrine is synthesized? First, there is a tyrosine trapping inside the neuron. So then the tyrosine is converted into dopa by the tyrosine hydroxylase. Again, dopa will be converted into dopamine by dopa decarboxylase. Dopa into dopamine to dopa decarboxylase. So again, this dopamine will again transported into inside the vesicles. Then the dopamine will convert it into norepinephrine by the enzyme of dopamine beta hydroxylase. This one, dopamine beta hydroxylase. It will cause dopamine to convert into the norepinephrine. Again, the norepinephrine is made inside the synaptic vesicle. So already I told you that when action potential is running, then this will cause the opening of calcium, which will cause entry, and the synaptic vesicle will fuse with the membrane and release their neurotransmitter. So synthesis of epinephrine. So tyrosine converted into dopa. Dopa will convert it into the dopamine, tyrosine to dopa by tyrosine hydroxylase enzyme, dopa to dopamine by dopa decarboxylase. Again, this dopamine will convert into norepinephrine, dopamine beta hydroxylase, as we learned earlier slide. Now we have to convert the norepinephrine to epinephrine. This will be by the phenyl ethanolamine and methyl transferase. This will cause the norepinephrine to convert into epinephrine. Epinephrine is synthesized from norepinephrine. Yes, it is synthesized from non-epinephrine. Preganglionic fibers, sympathetic adrenal nerve synapse within the adrenals. Yeah, okay. This lead to the stimulation of any when there is a depletion of this norepinephrine, it will cause the stimulation of norepinephrine synthesis. But unlike the sympathetic nerve, there is an additional enzyme which is called as phenylethanolamine and methyl transfer that will add methyl group to norepinephrine to form epinephrine. So this enzyme, what is it doing? It is adding methyl group to the norepinephrine, so it is converted into the epinephrine. So how the acetylcholine is manufactured or made inside the synaptic inside the presynaptic neuron. So first of all we obtain the extra acetyl-CoA from the mitochondria. Then we will add the choline with the help of enzyme. It will convert it into the acetylcholine. The enzyme responsible for is the choline acetyl transferase. Like this, it will cause the choline acetyl transferase. It will cause the CoA to again go to the mitochondria. This is from acetylcholine is formed. So it will go into the synaptic cleft. So it will cause the action potential to be generated in the postganglionic fiber. Then this is rapidly degraded by the acetylcholine esters, which are present here. Yeah, we have talked about that. So second one is the somatic nervous system. What is somatic nervous system? It is a modern nervous system which control only the skeletal muscles. Like this is also called as the voluntary nervous system. Regulate body movement through control of skeletal voluntary muscles. Also relate the organism with the environment through the reception of external stimulus such as the sense of vision, hearing, taste, smell. If the smell is bad, then you will go away from that place. If smell is good, like someone is making a delicious dish for you, so then you will go to check what is on the microwave. Or so you will taste. If the taste is bad, you will throw it away. If taste is good, you will move your skeletal muscle more and put in your mouth. Like somatic nervous system controls such as voluntary actions such as walking, smiling through the use of effector motor means that you are seeing someone and you are smiling. This voluntary action is by the somatic nervous system. So, somatic nervous system allows the individual to receive sensory information and react to the environmental changes. Overview, we are going to see somatic nervous system consists of cranial and spinal nerves that will innervate the skeletal muscles. These are the under the voluntary control. It includes all the neurons that connect with the muscles, skin, and sense organs. It will control all the voluntary muscular system within the body with the exception of reflex arcs. There are about 31 pairs of spinal nerve and 12 pairs of cranial nerve. So 31 pairs of spinal nerve, they are arising from different areas of spinal cord, and each spinal nerve has ventral root and dorsal root. Ventral root is a motor in function, means they have the motor or efferent fibers, whereas the dorsal root has the sensory or efferent fibers. The 12 pairs of the cranial nerve transmit the information like sense of sight. You are seeing something, you are smelling something, you have to balance yourself, you are tasting something, and the hearing from the sensory receptors. They also the information is carried and processed in the central nervous system. Then what you have to do, you will respond according to your information. Motor pathway of a somatic nervous system. Somatic divisions. Okay, we have a somatic division, and the cell bodies of motor neurons, like this is a motor neuron, will reside in the CNS, whether it's in a brain or a spinal cord, and just like this one. This has the cell body in the spinal cord, but its axons are running away from it. There are axons instituted in the spinal nerves, like this one. This is spinal nerve, extend all the way to the skeletal muscle, like this one, like this one. Once the information is relayed to the upper areas of brains, then there will be motor nerve cells which give rise to axons. This is first order neuron, then second order neuron, then third order neuron. Ultimately reach to the motor fibers to cause the contraction of the muscles. So they have the acetylcholine at the neuromuscular junction. So the neurotransmitter will be acetylcholine here. Sensory neuron, general visceral sensory neuron means that they are present in our viscera. They are sensory in nature. They will monitor the stretch, temperature of that organ, chemical changes, irritation. Cell bodies are located in the dorsal root ganglia, which like Photoreceptors, Thermoreceptors, Mechanoreceptors, chemo, photo, hearing, and balance. Pain receptors throughout the body except brain. You feel a pain in your head because of the vascularity, not because of your brain. It responds to the chemical released by the damaged cells. Man, if you are feeling pain, then there is some damage to your cells. Important to recognize the danger, injury, or disease. Second one is the thermoreceptors. They are present in our skin, body core, hypothalamus. It detect the variation in our body temperature when we in the winter we feel cold. Hypothalamus maintain that temperature. Again, in our summer season, we feel very hot. Hypothalamus again supplies it. So mechanoreceptors, they are present in our skin, skeletal muscle, and inner ears. Like they are maintaining our equilibrium. Sensitive to touch, pressure, stretch of muscles, sound, motion. Whereas the chemoreceptors pick up chemical reception in our nose and mouth. Like like if they are present in our mouth, then taste buds. If they are present in our nasal nose, they are olfactory bulb. Taste buds: salty, bitter, sour, sweet. We when we When we taste something good, just like pizza, it has the combination of all these chemicals. That's why we like the aroma. Photoreceptors, they are present in our eyes. They are sensitive to light, like vision. In cornea, it has a focus light filled with aqueous humor, whereas in iris, it's a back present in the back of the iris, the color part of eye. Pupil, tiny muscles regulate the size of the pupil. It regulates the amount of light coming. Lens, their small muscle change its shape to focus nearly objects or far away objects. Behind lens, we have the fluid called the vitreous humor. Retina has the photoreceptors. Retina has the photoreceptors. No photoreceptors where optic nerve pass through the back of eye. We have also a blind spot. Blind spot, it is a point uh, where the optic nerve passes through the back of eye. There are two types of receptors. First one is the rods, which are which detect black and white, and cones, which detect the color black and white. So, second one, we have hearing receptors. They are present in our ear. There are two functions: hearing and detecting the position changing to movement. Like they are present in cochlea, hammer, annual, stirrup, tympanum, auditory canal, sound. Balance, semicircular. They are present in semicircular canals. There are three canals that form the half circles, which we call the semicircular canals, filled with the fluid, and hairs, which detect our motion of head in relation to the gravity. So we are summarizing the difference between the somatic and autonomic. Number of neurons in efferent pathway. Somatic has just one motor efferent neuron, whereas autonomic has two, like preganglionic fibers and postganglionic fibers. Neurotransmitter in somatic is acetylcholine, and the receptor is nicotinic. Whereas in autonomic, uh, we have the acetylcholine receptor is muscarinic receptor or norepinephrine alpha or beta adrenergic receptor. Target tissue, somatic has the skeletal, whereas the target tissue of autonomic may be smooth cardiac or some endocrine, exocrine glands, etc. Neurotransmitter released from axon terminals, whereas in autonomic varicosities and axon terminals. Whereas in the effect of on target tissue, excitatory only, muscle contracts, nothing else. Whereas in autonomic, the effects can be excitatory or inhibitory. The peripheral components found outside the CNS axons are only, whereas in ANS we have the preganglionic axons, ganglia, postganglionic neurons. Summary of functions: somatic helps in maintain our posture and movement, whereas in autonomic they maintain the visceral functions, including the movement in internal organs and secretion and control of metabolism. Uh, References are these. Thank you so much. I hope you will understand good. I hope if you have any query, you can just comment below. I will answer you. Thank you very much.